Your marriage is as good as your singleness. So if you feel like you need to wait until you are married before you start doing it, no, it will not happen.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the Major Pain Podcast, the only podcast crafted to guide men like you on unraveling your uniqueness to transform the world around you. If you are a lady joining us, feel comfortable to listen as we hope women learn how to build better men through the golden nuggets we will be sharing and learning. Follow this podcast wherever you are listening. Kindly like and subscribe if you are watching this on YouTube. The life of a man can be very complex. Men ask a lot of questions, but very few answers are given. Some men are privileged to have the right support system, causing them to fail in multiple areas of their lives. I believe we have available resources as men at our fingertips, but are we open as men to explore these items to build a strategic roadmap for success? Today, joining me to explore this topic, men's development strategy for growth, is Patrick Njapa, a certified mindset and relationship coach. He has worked as a coach and consultant for industry leaders such as Bob Proctor and Kelly Roach. His passion for coaching in the area of mindset and relationship was born out of his burning desire to find answers to his question. He intends to positively impact the lives of everyone he meets, especially you listening or watching this podcast. Welcome, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
Yeah, I really appreciate you for accepting this call. It's so great to have you on this podcast because I have been binging on your content, especially on LinkedIn, and it is just so remarkable.
Thank
Trust
you.
me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Patrick, can you please tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you found your purpose in life?
Well, I always had this thirst of learning more about how to help people. My grandfather was a minister, a
Mm,
pastor, and I am named after him. So when he passed away 2001, my grandmother told me, you're gonna take over and be a minister like your grandfather. And I said, no, 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 I don't want to be preaching in a church. I'm not interested in that. But over the years, I had many people coming back to me saying, hey, Patrick, you act like a pastor. Patrick, you look like a pastor. I was saying to myself, what is going on with you guys? One of my friends came to me and said, that was a couple of years back, said, okay, I had a dream from God, and God told me to tell you that you are destined to lead his people. I was saying, what are you talking about? I don't want to hear that. So
wow.
I kind of pushed that back. And when I came to Canada in 2014, I then started to ask myself, what am I doing here? Not only here in Canada, but
Mm,
here on Earth. How am I different from a tree?
mm,
How am I different from a dog? What is my purpose? What am I doing?
yeah.
And that's how these conversations came back to mind, especially the one with my grandmother. And then I realized that
Mm,
this being a minister is not only being a church, being a pastor preaching, it is also being
wow.
of service, being in a position where you can help.
Mm,
So I said, okay, I'm ready. I
yeah.
want to do that. I accept now, I'm ready. But what is the right vehicle for that for me? And that's how my personal
Yeah.
development journey started. And I started listening to my first motivational video was from Denzel Washington on YouTube. Fall Forward. I will never forget that.
Wow.
That was my first video. Fall Forward, Denzel Washington. I listened to that video again and again and again and again. And then I started with Les Brown and stuff like that. I wanted to be a motivational speaker at the beginning, but I found out I don't
Mm,
just want to speak. I also want to give some practical information and practical resources, tools. So I decided to
Wow.
be a coach, and I also wanted to be a good father. I also wanted to be
Mm.
a good husband. Looking back at my life, my dad and my mom, I see how it went. I saw my grandfather and my grandmother and everything.
Mm.
So all these stories helped me decide what kind of husband, what kind of man I want to be, what kind of role I want to play in my girl's life, because I have two daughters.
Mm.
And so I
Wow.
decided to become a relationship coach. So this is long story short, this is how I found my purpose,
Mm.
and every day I'm working on it. Sometimes I feel like, am I the right person to do this? Am I even ready? Should I? Shouldn't I? But I think this is all only a way for me to reassure myself and to find better way to achieve that purpose.
Wow, wow. This is transformational, trust me. While you were speaking, I could literally see some of my own experience in your experience, especially where you were talking about the vehicle that you use to live your purpose. It's more like the vehicle is the coaching is your coaching
Yes,
services, right? That you using to impact lives. You
exactly.
understand, right? Yeah, and it just same thing. And I also found my purpose when I migrated to Canada. I feel like there's something about migration
Exactly. Yeah.
that kind of that kind of just it's like say a rug is being pulled from under your
Mhm.
feet, right? And you just realize how will I put it? Like some of the things, especially when we were back in our various country, like some of the things that we had in our mind, you just think like, okay, this is I'm accomplished, I've achieved a lot, I've this and that. But then when you find yourself in a new country, it's like those things have been like stripped away from
Yep.
you. And you just seeing yourself bare like that. And those questions begin to come into your mind like, who am I? What is my strength? What is my this? And it's like you're going through another, it's like you are born again and you are now exploring the world afresh. And I believe there are so many men, either newcomers or men who have been here for a long time, who might find themselves in that type of situation. And just hearing you speak makes me understand that it's normal as men for us to be in that position wherein we feel maybe deserted or we feel left alone and we are just asking these questions and just exploring and we are like and speaking further, like when we get into other questions, I believe that you'll be able to share some of the resources that all the like men listening to this podcast can use to build themselves up.
Mhm.
You are a relationship coach, and you said something about how your love for doing better, becoming a better version of you. Like it's something that entices you, and I'm also that way too. So I seriously reflect with that. Speaking about your relationship coaching experience, what would you say are some of the essential areas that men are failing today? Let's first talk about as immigrant and then we talk about as general because I believe immigrant men, this is very unique to them. Exactly.
I right now I have two, three, maybe more of my friends that are going through a divorce. We came back. We came from
Oh.
Cameroon. We are all from Cameroon, but right now, the husband, I mean, the man is on the side, the woman, and with kids, the other side, and stuff like that. So when I think, when I reflect on that, and this is also one reason why I'm really uh, how do I say, involved in my community here in Calgary, Canada, Alberta, because I really want to be a contribution. I really want to bring my contribution to the table when it comes to helping those immigrant family to stay together. How can you succeed when you leave your country and all your comfort zone and everything? You come to a country like this, and now there is a split. How can you succeed? Only when you have your only salary, you're having hard time. Now, where you have the opportunity to be together, and put your money together and be successful for you and your kids. Now you are splitting up. That's what I don't understand that. So this is a very important question because I think one thing that can make men struggle, have them to struggle, is that sometimes we don't really realize that we are in a different country with a different culture, with a different mindset. Some of our wives back home, they can keep quiet in front of some specific situations, but here in Canada, they won't. They won't. They will say something or they will do something. And I remember when you are a newcomer, you have so many meetings that you can attend. And one of these meetings is to tell you these are your rights, especially for women. If your husband do this, don't worry, we will take care of you. If your husband do that, don't worry, we will take care of you. So what she was able to accept back home, she's not willing to accept it here. She's not. And back home, maybe she was not working and she was expecting uh, her husband to come home with money or all the resources she needed. But here she can also work. As husband, you have a car. She also has a car. What are you going to tell her? What are you going to threaten her with? Nothing. You have money, she has money. Because back home we can say, okay, if you don't do this, I will not give you money again. So you have to do what I'm telling you to do. So we can really threaten her. So I think uh, um, not making the shift and trying to adjust to be in a position where we can understand the system and take advantage of that system is is creating some kind of bad situation in our immigrant family. So I think it's very, very important to understand that this is Canada and we have specific rules here. So let's understand that. I'm not trying to say forget all about Africa, and it could be Africa, it could be Syria or wherever. I'm not saying forget about your roots. Not, no. I'm saying where you are, try to understand how it works and use that to strengthen your relationship.
Wow, wow. What you just said, I feel like is the elephant in the room that it's really not been, addressed or talked about most times because most times I mean, it's it's really crazy with the statistics of like broken
Yeah,
homes in the immigrant community, especially when they
exactly.
migrate from their various countries down here. Like it's just so it's disturbing, and the sad thing is because they are not like earlier on before we started recording this session, we were just talking about how men are not really coming forward to talk. Men are going through issues, but they are not coming forward to like talk about some of the issues they are going with, and just listening and also asking, okay, how can I do this better, or how can I understand this properly? So um, I feel like that's the fact that men are just staying behind and feeling and acting like they know
Mm-hmm.
it all, and not just maybe giving that space to unlearn some things
Relearn.
and relearn
Yeah.
some things, right? So it's really causing a lot of conflict. So now you just touched a very sensitive spot, honestly, in almost every immigrant man's life. So now, how about those people who we can say, okay, I've been here for a long time. What area do you think they are failing in their relationships, like lately?
Speaking of men, um,
Yeah, speaking of men, like
I think we can many things can be said here, but one thing that I would like to share among many is how we handle our masculinity. Sometimes we feel like being masculine or being a man is like you need to show some some power. You deny yourself the possibility of being or the option of being vulnerable. You you don't ask for help. When your wife will tell you, "How are you doing?" "I'm fine." And we are not like women. We don't go that deep in the details. So maybe something is hurting you, something is driving you crazy, but you don't open your mouth to tell your wife, "Listen, this is what is going on in my mind." Even if it's to tell her, "Please, let me rest, let me reset, and I will come back to you." If you don't explain that, what she is hearing is, "He is not interested in me. I care no more. I mean, I'm no longer that person he was in love with." Okay, so maybe he is seeing someone else, or maybe, just because we are not giving ourselves this opportunity of opening our heart and say, "Hey, yes, here I am in a very difficult situation. Can you help me?" We feel like saying that is saying that we are weak. I don't think so. So, you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, and most of the time, when a man or a woman goes outside and start an affair, let's say like that, it is mainly because an emotional need hasn't been met. Because sometimes the person that person is having an affair with is not even that person is not better than your husband or your wife. But it is just that your wife or your husband is expecting something very emotional, very deep from you that you are not giving. And when we have the opportunity to have that need met by someone else, it is very easy for us to go out. So I think um, we need to understand that masculinity is just an attribute. It is not to say that it is who we are. We can be strong and sensitive at the same time. We can be compassionate and very disciplined at the same time. So it is possible.
Wow. Wow. This is you're really touching. You touch so many hot spots that we've been like in this podcast, we've been talking about men's vulnerability, men's mental health, the fact that men are just being stoic, they don't want to like, come forward and all those things. We've been really exploring those topics, and I'm very happy to hear that you are saying the same thing because I mean, you are a man yourself. You've been seeing, you've been observing, and you've been noticing these things. I also have been observing, I've been seeing it. I have struggled with some of these things that we're talking
Correct.
about, and I believe that we've been able to walk through these things. That's why we are seeing the need to have this conversation and also to like help other men, like enlighten them. Because there's something that I used to say, I say men are already empowered. I won't say there's men's empowerment program. No, men are already empowered, but they just lack the
Mm.
enlightenment. So it's more like why men are empowered. What we're pushing for is men enlightenment. And I really like the fact that we get to have this conversation and talk about some of these core issues because some of the men listening to us, they're just like nodding their head and saying, this guy is just talking about me
It's
right now.
me.
So I really like
Yeah.
that. I like that. Okay, so now going forward, when we're talking of a roadmap and we're talking of like some of the strategies and resources and tools that can help men build themselves, either as an immigrant man or as a man who has been in North America for a long time, uh, what are some tools you can recommend that some men can use in developing themselves?
Whoa, this is a whole program. So many tools.
Yeah.
Let me start or maybe share one of them
Okay.
and that we all have access to.
Okay.
Self-awareness.
Boom.
Self-awareness. Yesterday, I paid a visit to a friend of we were talking and we were kind of remembering how we came. I came in 2014, how we came, how we started driving, not having a driving experience back then, stuff like I was saying how scared I was, taking wrong ways, driving the wrong side of the road with a country with big roads and many cars, taking
Yeah.
highways, slowing down on highways when people are very speeding up,
Yeah.
stuff like that, because I was scared
Yeah.
and I was doubting myself. I was saying
Hmm.
to myself, who are you to be in this kind of country and pretend you can do it? So not knowing, as you just said, we already have that power in us.
Yeah.
So I think self-awareness is is a good way, a good starting point, and also to understand that the lady or the husband we have beside us
Hmm.
is our teammate.
Yeah.
We are not opponent. When we are on the table, we are not like you are on that side, I am on this side, and the problem
Hmm.
is in front of us. The problem is our opponent. But you, as my wife, you are not my opponent. You are my um, um, we are in the same team, so we sit side by side.
Yeah.
And I truly
Exactly.
believe exactly, and I truly believe that marriage is a wonderful way of making us holy. You
Yeah.
want to learn how to be patient? Marriage can teach you that. You want to
Woohoo!
learn how to be a good listener? Marriage can teach you that. You want to know how to work in a team? Marriage can teach you that. You want to learn how
Mm.
to be humble? Marriage can teach you that. You want to learn how to manage your money well? Marriage can teach you that. You want to create a
Mm.
vision for your life and be a leader and be a thoughtful leader? Marriage can teach you that. So all these things, I truly believe that marriage is something great, and it all starts with self-awareness. And self-awareness means that you are not expecting someone to come and make you whole because you are already
Mm.
whole.
Yeah.
You are whole. You are complete. You are unique. You just need someone because your cup is already full. You need
Hmm.
someone to come and just pour a little bit of on top so you can have overflow.
Yeah.
So whether you have that person or not, you are already someone complete. So we need to be aware of that.
Mm.
And because we are aware of that, we enter the relationship with a different mindset.
Good.
Because if I enter the relationship with the mindset that I am expecting you to come and make me
Hmm.
complete, I feel like I am waiting something from
Yeah.
you. And when you don't give it to me, I am unhappy and we start
Yeah.
fighting.
Wow. Wow. Woohoo! Mr. Patrick, like this, just like what you said, this can be a seminar on its own. I'm telling you. Yeah. It's such a powerful perspective that you are speaking from, which I believe that not so many people have gotten to self-reflect to even understand themselves, their personality, and as because now someone listening to this might be like, "Oh, Mr. Patrick might be speaking from marriage," but they don't, and they don't might not see that even as a single person, like everything starts from that single stage. That's self-awareness. You
Oh
understand,
yeah.
right? Exactly.
Yes.
So it starts from that single stage, like how as a single person. So if you're single and you're listening to this definitely matter and resonate to you and is for you. As a single person, the question you will be asking is how can I self-analyze myself? How can I become self-aware in order for me to build myself up, to be a good listener, to be humble, to be patient, to have that team mentality, such that when you get into
Mhm.
marriage, you can function effectively. Because sometimes people feel like it's when they get married, that's when they learn these things, unknown that singlehood is like the theory, marriage is the practical. And
Let me jump right in. Your marriage is as good as your singleness.
boom.
So if you feel like you need to wait until you are married before you start doing it, no, it will not happen. And one last thing before
Yeah.
you come back, when you learn how to be humble, and when you have a team mentality, when you learn how to be patient, to listen, it's not only about marriage.
Yeah.
It's also about life in general. Because
Boom.
even in your workplace,
Exactly.
you need that. You
Exactly.
need that.
Wow. And this is why I would have you, Mr. Patrick, as a returning guest so that we can unpack that aspect,
No
especially
worries.
talking about as men, how can we work professionally in the workplace, even as an immigrant man, because these are some things that even immigrant men are struggling with, because like the work culture back home is different from the work culture here. There are some certain things that you can say to your female colleague back home, but over here you say it, you are fired or probably just thrown to jail for saying some things. So we would unpack those topics. I really really love your wealth of knowledge and experience and how much you are how excited you are to share your knowledge in these areas. I really like that. Okay, so let's move forward. Relationship is just so sweet to talk about that. I mean, we can talk for hours about this thing and we are just touching the surface. So whoever is listening to this, I hope these strategies that are being shared, you are taking notes and you are reflecting it into your life and just seeing how can I use this thing that I'm listening to right now. How can I self-reflect? How can I become self-aware? Are there tools I can use in becoming self-aware? Are there videos on YouTube? Mr. Patrick talked about some videos on YouTube that he watched. Are there some key videos I can watch that can help me self-reflect? Sometimes we can do these things all by ourselves, and that's why there are coaches. Mr. Patrick is a coach and I'm also a coach over here. But then, Mr. Patrick, I want you to talk more about your coaching packages, your coaching business. Can you just enlighten us more about your program and how people can reach out to you if say they want to explore more in their relationship, in their leadership, or even life as a man or as a new immigrant man?
I recently decided to keep only two specific programs up and running because I had so many before and I was like, I'm all over the place. Let's put everything on hold and work with two only. So the first one I call it Love Class.
Wow.
Love Class because this is how I show people that the main skill that you need to develop in order to have your relationship successful is not communication or problem solving or conflict resolution skills. That's not it. Because at the beginning of your relationship with your girlfriend, you were getting along very, very well without knowing anything about communication and
Yeah, that's
problem
very true.
solving. The thing that was present, the thing that made you stay on the phone with her for hours and hours, the thing that made you be very anxious, expecting her next call was the connection that you had. between you and her. So love class is about showing how to create that connection if we don't have it yet, or how to maintain and upgrade that connection, because I truly believe that connection is what you need to have your relationship successful.
Wow.
If you work only from compatibility, usually compatibility is something that is exterior, is something that can change at
Mm-hmm.
at any time. But you,
Yeah.
when you really have that connection, it's strong.
Wow.
So the first program is about building that, and I call it Love Class. The second program, that is mainly for professionals, and that's
Mm.
the program that I'm really talking about on LinkedIn, is to help them create a life where they can be very successful on their job or in their business,
Mm-hmm.
and very fulfilled at home. They don't have to choose between work and their family. I
Yeah.
was talking to a client 6 days ago, and he told me, I mean a prospect,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me he hasn't taken a leave
Wow.
or vacation
Wow.
for 13 years.
Wow.
He is in Africa. He's in Ivory Coast in Africa. 13 years.
No
I
way.
said, this is crazy. How can you be working for 13 years without any period of holidays or something like that?
Mm.
This is weird. So it's because sometimes we feel like we need to choose, but we can create a system that is helping us being very, very successful
Yeah.
on our job, in our company, and
Wow.
very, very successful and have time with our family. So this second program, I call it Life Leadership Retreat.
Uh,
It's usually a 2 days a program where we go through a couple of modules with specific uh, uh, goals that we want
mm-hmm.
to achieve, with specific exercise and workshops. So those are the two programs that I'm having. I also want to let people know that my first language is French. You might have heard it from my accent. My first language is French, and those programs or these programs are in French.
Mm.
However, how to reach out to me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my main platform.
Okay.
You can send me you can DM me. You can join me in
Mm-hmm.
inbox. You as Paul is doing all the time. You can translate my posts
Exactly.
and read them to have a good sense of what I'm
Yeah.
saying, and reach out to me inbox. So the good thing is I can customize
Mm-hmm.
this program
Yeah.
and have them also in English for those who are really looking for guidance or assistance on that.
Awesome.
I believe that accountability is our success insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
When you really have someone who is keeping you
Yeah.
accountable, this is how you can really succeed and go very, very fast.
Awesome, awesome. Well, this is remarkable, Mr. Patrick. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on board this podcast and share your wealth of experience and knowledge. I feel so amazed and excited that we unlocked something in this podcast, and that thing that we unlocked
We
is
are.
in line with something I've been really passionate to bring forward to the men, and in regards to immigrant men, like some of the key components that I see a lot of immigrant men struggling, especially you and I as an immigrant man. We went through the struggles, and so far there are really not so many tools and resources, first of all, for men in general, how much more immigrant men. And I believe that we can use our platforms to reach out to this man from subsequent podcast episodes. So I really look forward to having you back as a returning guest so that we can explore these topics and let's impact men together. Yeah. So Everyone listening to this podcast, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen. I encourage you to follow Mr. Patrick on the various platforms. You can check out the description to see what platform that suits you best so that you can connect with him. And subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Follow this podcast on whichever platform that you are listening to. And I look forward to seeing you guys. I look forward to hearing from you all. And I'll see you in the next episode. Take care and cheers.